Okay, so let's talk about a name you see on pretty much every street corner in America, CVS. It feels familiar, right? Reliable, maybe even a little bit boring. But I'm telling you, the story behind those three little red letters is one of the most surprising and ambitious tales in modern business. Seriously, when you hear CVS, what pops into your head? Probably picking up a prescription, right? Or grabbing some cold medicine, maybe a late night snack, the neighborhood drugstore, a convenience. But that simple store is actually a corporate giant that has been quietly reshaping itself into something way, way more powerful. I mean, we all think of CVS and Walgreens as basically the same thing, direct competitors. But check this out. On the Fortune 500 list, that's the list of the biggest companies in the world. Walgreens is a very respectable number 37. But CVS Health, they're number 14. That's not just bigger, that is a whole different ballgame. And this is the number that gets them there. $177 billion in annual revenue. That's bigger than the economy of most countries. It's just a staggering figure that really makes you wonder, how on earth did a humble little corner drugstore become one of the most powerful corporations on the planet? Well, to find the answer, we have to go back, way back to the beginning, back to 1963, where this whole pharmacy empire was born from just a single solitary store. So first things first, what does CVS even stand for? It's actually an acronym for Consumer Value Stores. That first store was opened by two brothers, Stanley and Sidney Goldstein, along with their partner Ralph Hoagland. And get this, in the beginning, it wasn't even a pharmacy. It was just a store focused on health and beauty products. And they were successful from day one. I mean, incredibly successful. In just 1 year, they went from that one single location to 17 stores. By the end of the decade, they had 40. That kind of growth is almost unheard of. So, what was their secret sauce? Well, according to the founder, Stanley Goldstein, it was this simple idea. He said they just used common sense. They treated their employees really well, paying them more than competitors and providing health insurance. This approach created a loyal, effective workforce, and that was the engine for their explosive early growth. But that initial success, that was just chapter one. To become the giant we know today, CVS needed some serious fuel for the fire. And boy, did it get it. This kicked off a decades-long shopping spree that would come to define the entire company. So, in 1969, the founders sold their 40-store chain to a much larger company called the Melville Corporation. And this, right here, was the turning point. All of a sudden, CVS had the deep pockets and financial backing of a major corporation, and they immediately put that money to work. For the next 50 years, CVS was on the hunt. They started acquiring other drugstores at a relentless pace. 490 stores from People's Drug, a massive 2,600 from their rival Revco, 700 more from Savon and Osco, and then, you've probably noticed this, the 1,600 pharmacies inside of Target stores. They weren't just growing, they were systematically swallowing the competition. Okay, but here's where the story gets really wild. By 1996, that little drugstore chain that Melville had bought was by far the most successful part of its entire business. So successful, in fact, that Melville sold off everything else, its shoe stores, its toy stores, you name it, and renamed the entire parent corporation to CVS. The company they bought ended up taking over the whole operation. But even after conquering the retail pharmacy world, CVS wasn't done, not even close. A new, much more ambitious plan was starting to take shape. A strategic pivot from being just a store that sells health products to a company that actually delivers healthcare itself. The first big step in that direction was buying Minute Clinic in 2006. You know, those little walk-in clinics you see inside the stores? All of a sudden, you could go into a CVS not just for bandages, but for an actual diagnosis from a nurse practitioner. It was a perfect fit, turning their thousands of stores into little front doors for medical care. The very next year, they made an even bigger move, buying Caremark for a cool $26 billion. Now, Caremark is a pharmacy benefits manager, or PBM. So what on earth is a PBM? Well, think of it as a powerful middleman that works with insurance companies to negotiate drug prices and manage prescription plans for millions and millions of people. By owning one of the biggest PBMs in the country, CVS gained massive control over which drugs get covered and how much they cost. With all these pieces falling into place, CVS was ready to make a really bold statement. In 2014, they did something that seemed unthinkable for a big retailer. They just stopped selling all tobacco products. They officially changed their name to CVS Health, arguing that a health organization just can't be in the business of selling cigarettes. It just doesn't make sense. And this wasn't just for show, it wasn't some empty PR stunt. The company figured this decision would cost them $2 billion a year in lost sales. That's a massive financial sacrifice. But it was also a crystal clear signal to the world that their transformation into a healthcare giant was for real. They were all in. Which brings us to today, and to an acquisition so enormous it could fundamentally change how millions of Americans get their healthcare. $69 billion. That was the price tag for CVS's acquisition of Aetna, one of the largest health insurance companies in the entire country. If owning a pharmacy network and a PBM was a big deal, adding a massive insurer to the mix, that was a true game changer. The vision for this combined company is both incredibly powerful and pretty simple: to create a true one-stop medical shop. The whole idea is to bring every single part of a patient's healthcare journey together. I mean, just think about it for a second. You could walk into your local CVS, get a diagnosis at the Minute Clinic, have your Aetna insurance plan approve the treatment, and fill the prescription right there at the pharmacy counter, all under one corporate roof. It's a move that has the potential to completely restructure the entire U.S. healthcare system. So the next time you walk past a CVS, just remember the decades of brilliant acquisitions and bold moves that turned it from a little health and beauty store into an absolute healthcare giant. Which leaves us with one final, pretty wild thought. In the future, could that familiar corner store actually become your new doctor's office? It's a future that might be a lot closer than you think.